penultimate episode of our series that has been going on for nearly 3 years. Jeanne Dielman, 24 quai de commerce, 18 Bruxelles.
There's a lot of potatoes in this movie.
Jean-Luc, you little rat. Welcome to The Film Angle, a podcast where we dive deep into the latest releases and unearth the classics to better our cinephilic curiosity. I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris.
And today is our penultimate episode of our series that has been going on for nearly 3 years. Our Sight and Sound Greatest Films of All Time, Blindspots. This is the final film on the list. And I say it's the penultimate episode because we are going to do a little kind of like tie the bow, in a couple of weeks.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah, pretty. Just kind of round off this series, which has been a bit of a mammoth task in the end. Considering, Kris, you suggested the idea very early on in episode 43.
Was it me that suggested the idea? This feels like a you thing.
No, this was you, Kris. This was
remember.
all you. The direction of our podcast for the last 3 years.
I love the way we were just like, we were talking about general releases, like new movies coming out, the odd weird Christmas movie with like strippers in it.
We had no structure really, did we?
And then suddenly we just jump into like the biggest series you could do.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, all right? So I looked back at our episodes. So episode 43, when we first discussed Tropical Malady. So it was Tropical Malady and Black Girl were the first two films from the list that we discussed. It was because the list had come out the year prior, the 2022, because it happens every 10 years. And I think it was like 2012, and then it's 2022, and then the next list will be 2032. And I think it must have been like a New Year's resolution for you or something. I think you had just said, "Oh, I'm gonna like watch all the films on the Sight and Sound list."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I want to do that. That sounds really interesting." And then I think we were like, "Oh, why don't we just incorporate that into the podcast?" And that was actually kind of the start of us kind of making sure that what we were watching was the same thing. Because I think a lot of the early days we were all over the place. Like, you watch something, I watch something, we just chat about it.
Yeah. We'd be like,
very unfocused.
Yeah, we would just be like, "Oh, here's what I watched," and "Oh, that sounds really cool. Where can I watch that?" And I'm just like, we were shooting from the hip, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So shame it took us 43 episodes to figure that out.
We were comfortable. We had a comfort.
I think we must have synced up on quite a few things before that point. But yeah, you're right. That was so yeah. 43 episodes. We're now on 100 and... what episode is this? 150 something? No, 161, I think.
And we're not famous yet.
And we're not... All right. We're famous in some places.
Oh, that's nice.
We once hit the top 100 in the Philippines. So yeah, when we took on that task, I don't think we were expecting it to take 3 years hitting all our blind spots. So we've had many episodes. I was in my 20s. The podcast had a completely different logo. There was no 20s. Video.
And did you have the long hair that you have now?
I did not have the long hair I have now. I think I was. I'm just trying to think. I remember I was definitely growing it at this time. Oh no, yeah. No, I think it was like here.
Like a little Willy Wonka.
Yeah, for the audio listener, I would say like just below my ears. We're working on a bob, I think.
Nice. I do remember it wasn't like a bob, it was kind of like to the side, wasn't it? Like it was like kind of swooped one side.
No, I had it going down both ways, because looking at it, episode 52 was the island angle, which is when we went to Dublin together, and that logo on the podcast has our Guinness pint with our faces printed on it. And I've got long hair, but I wasn't sure what I was doing with it at that point. So
well, here we are.
Here we are. And we so we've mainly been hitting blind spots. Sometimes it's just a blind spot for me. Sometimes it's just a blind spot for you. And then when we hit the top 10, we said we should do the full top 10. That being said, I think there is what do I say there's one film missing on the list that you haven't seen, Chris? Or does that
No,
feel bad?
I've watched every film on the list. We don't, yeah, that we don't need to talk about this anymore.
We don't want to talk about Histoire du Cinema.
Histoire de what? I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We've completed the list, guys. We're now at number one. Uh,
Alex is, of course, I'm being coy here. Alex is, of course, referring to, can you even count it as a film? It's kind of a mini box
it's,
set
it's a TV
collection.
show. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
documentary TV series essentially.
which is accumulated to what length? What are all these projects put together lengthwise?
It's a 3-4 hours, I think.
Oh, I thought it was longer actually. Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is pretty bad actually, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is quite painful to
And
get.
didn't you spend, like, a lot of money on this rare to find little
I did.
non-HD
I
DVD
did.
collection?
I spent.
You were so into the series, that's why.
I spent about 50 quid on it.
Jesus, man, and it's like and
Yeah.
it's
Do you
kind
have it now, or
I
did
do, and
I?
it's I
Yeah.
do,
Could I have it back?
I I do need to give it back to you because it's like, you paid 50 quid for it, and it's pretty dog-eared as well, like, it's
Yeah,
not
it was a charity shop.
charity
So
shop, more
so
like a flipping rinsing
I
machine.
don't mind. I gave to British Heart Foundation or Oxfam or one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
mind. I don't
Well,
mind.
they saw you
Uh,
coming a mile away.
and I completed it, and you've yet to complete it.
I'm so sorry. I that is actually quite annoying because 'cause I'm like, I can't say I've done the whole list. That
I think
sucks.
you have done the films. You've completed the
Yeah,
film
I've
list.
done the films. Yeah.
It's a weird one to have on there. I would not put it in my top 10.
It's hard, is it?
It's tricky to get through. There is no doubt.
Okay.
It's Jean-Luc Godard.
It wouldn't strengthen my relationship with him.
Like there are elements of it which are quite interesting, but it is difficult in terms of form because he's speaking in French and then the subtitles come a little bit afterwards. So you're always like playing catch up, and there's a lot of him just like cutting two things together and like flashing them. Um,
I'm
yeah,
just seeing you on your sofa going, "Oh, for God's sake, come on."
yeah, yeah. I think each episode is. I think the first episode is like an hour, and then like the episodes after that are like 40 minutes. So I remember I like watched them on my lunch breaks. Then that made it more palatable. But yeah, I didn't have a clue what was going on most of the time. Every now and then you got like a snippet of something, and then like some kind of narration which made you think, "Oh, I'm gaining some like that." Actually, that makes a lot of sense what he's saying here. Like this relates to this, and you're like, "Okay, that's a little nugget I can take from that."
That is
Um,
something about, like I imagine that's yeah, I completely understand what you're talking about, even though I haven't seen the
mm,
project, but, like, there are a couple of films that we've discovered on this list that kind of operate on that level of, like, vagueness and ambiguity, which, when you're watching at home, is really difficult. I mean, when you're in a cinema and you're like, "Right, okay, I'm giving myself to this artistic experience, and I'm completely locked away from all my other thoughts and ideas, what the fuck I'm
mhm,
gonna have for
mhm,
dinner or what I'm gonna do later on." It's so much better for absorbing that sort of um, obtuse style of filmmaking. But whenever you're just like at home, it's so you have to put the phone in another room. If you're like, it's hard because like
yeah,
I'm not clinging onto these ideas, and then well, no one's watching me right now. The first thing I want to do is I want to go on my computer and I want to see I catch myself up so I can understand the rest of the project, and you have to
yes,
force yourself to not do that, and that's
yes,
a really real learning curve. Um, this project that we're doing for me as well.
yeah, a hundred
If
percent.
I'm being honest,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Some of these films are quite tricky to not want to like. Some of them were on the slower side, including today's. But yeah, you kind of have to force yourself to put the phone away. And I probably, there are probably a couple of these films I did get bit bored on, but not today's. I will say that. I
hmm
just want to say I just quickly found my letterbox review of Histoire du Cinema, and I put a little something for episode 4, and this is what I remember most about the film: is Godard sitting topless with a cigar in his mouth during episode 4, most of the time just kind of recording himself talking about things.
and packaging it. packaging it off as a product to sell.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Very funny.
Oh, man.
It's
Okay.
just got like a blue visor cap on. Yeah, it's great. It's really odd. And just every now and then he'll just like splices pornography in there as well.
Oh, just, like, jump scare.
Yeah. 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 It's odd. He's an odd guy. He'll come up in our so what we're gonna do next week,
Yep.
not next week, the way in the week after next is we are gonna give you our top 10 films from the series. So they have to be blind spots that we've watched. So because if we actually took the top 10 films from the whole list, you might find it would be drastically different to the stuff we've spoken about on the show. So we just want to use the blind spots we've seen over the last 3 years and compile them into a top 10. I think Jean-Luc Godard will come up as we discuss the series as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whether he comes up on the top 10 or not, I don't know.
Maybe
to,
for
though,
one of
to be
us.
fair, yeah, he might come up more for you because he actually wasn't a lot of his films weren't a blind spot for me
Yeah, that's true.
throughout the series because I did like just before the pandemic did a bit of a Godard
Yeah, was it like
series on myself.
I think they were doing, like, a really big thing with him, a big retrospective on Mubi, and I think
Yeah.
that's maybe when, him and Agnes Varda were doing the Faces Places project, and it was kind of all was tied
He
in.
he was not involved in the Faces Places project.
There was a version of him characterized in that documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, famously, she tries to get him involved, and he does not get
Ah,
involved. Yes,
okay. Okay,
and
but
then she goes, "Jean-Luc, you little rat."
that's why you were saying that to me for years, okay? That all makes sense. I
You
will
gotta watch Faces Places, man. You'll love it. I honestly think
We
you'll
were
love
almost
Faces
gonna watch
Places.
it one day at your place,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was we were you were here for the weekend and we were trying to figure out something to watch and it was playing in the watershed. I think we watched something else in the end, but
I think we were just gonna watch it at your home.
oh, were we? Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
still should. It's really good.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like we're saying this every week. "No, should we watch that movie next time we're yours?" I'm just we're just, like, moving the pile backwards. Um, I will wanna say, though, like, we joked about how we bit off a big chunk of the apple here by going for a really big project where we're doing like, these 100 films, and I'm gonna say I don't regret it, though. I
Mm,
think it was a really cool idea for us because, a lot of these films not only were blind spots, but the filmmakers making them were also blind spots for me.
mhm,
So this
mhm.
was a really
Never seen
great.
the Tarkovsky before.
Yeah, and we got a few of them. So this was, like today, I hadn't seen a Chantal Akerman film before,
Oh,
and so
that's not true, is it? Oh, do you mean do you mean not before today? As in, like, before the series?
not before the series.
Yes, sorry, I'm the same, sorry, yep.
Yeah,
I thought you meant before today, I was thinking we did, News from Home.
yeah, yeah, I liked it. And I think it's really cool because it's now given me a platform, and I'm sure you feel the same, a platform to kind of bounce off and go to these different directions in the future if I want to. I'm like, right,
Yeah,
okay, I've scratched one or two of Tarkovsky's films off. Um, okay, I'm just gonna do the rest of them one day,
yeah.
and I have an idea of the sensibility of these filmmakers now. So yeah, it's given me a real appetite, and it's a great overview. I would
Mm,
say I would recommend anybody who's, a student or somebody who is just getting into cinema and is very open-minded to approach a project like this because I think it's a really great way to give you a little taste of everything.
agreed,
World
agreed.
cinema, American cinema, silent cinema, musicals, it's all here. It's cool.
I agree, and although we're not gonna continue this series, uh, on the podcast, I might delve in personally to the top 250 and just, try to tick off a few films from there because I've been enjoying, in a way, being forced to watch some of these films.
Yeah.
Um, whether that'll work not being forced into it, but I think we probably need a break from this and just like and maybe do a few more like mini series
Yeah, bit of
going
a
forward.
sprinkling of dumb fun as well in there.
Sprinkling of dumb fun, but also like I'd love to catch up on some of the directors we've just touched on in this
Sure,
and kind of catch up. I'd love to do a bit more Agnes Varda. Since we're talking about
100%.
that, it'd be great to do an Agnes Varda series on the show. I think,
Mm,
yeah, and maybe a Chantal Ackman one. Who knows?
well We'll get into that.
Shall we talk about today's film? And,
Yes.
our thing for the whole episode is this the greatest film of all time? The number 1 on the list? A bit of a shocker. They opened the list up to a more diverse kind of range of critics and filmmakers, more so than they had done before. And, Jeanne Dielman came up on top. I'm gonna pronounce the whole
I
name.
know you've been working on it all week, so
I've
I
got
would never take that away from you, Alex. You go for it.
So, to not disrespect the film, I will call it the full title here and now, and then I will probably refer to it as Jean Dielman throughout the show because it's
Fair.
very difficult for me as somebody who did not do a lot of French at school. So
I also don't think people want to hear you every time you reference the movie say the full title as
it's true,
well.
it's true. All right, are you right? I do have it phonetically spelled in front of me because
Oh,
I struggle. So no judgment, please. Jean Dielman, 23 quai de commerce, 18 Bruxelles.
I'm not French. I got a B in GCSE French, but that sounded pretty good to me.
I thought for a second that you were gonna say, "I'm not French, but I got a boner."
I got what's this? What's this? Is a giant baguette in my trousers.
Oh, man. Tells you where my mind goes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is actually the address of our titular character. So we alluded to last week that it features a lot of potato peeling, but I think I was actually, spreading disinformation there. There's not actually that much potato peeling in this film. There
Oh
are a lot
no,
of
there's a lot of potatoes in this movie.
there's a lot of potatoes, but there's not a lot of potato peeling.
There's 2 extended peeling sequences in this film, but yeah, even when the potatoes aren't on screen, I am sort of still thinking about the potatoes. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? They're kind of they kind of
'Cause
are a
they're
big thing in
always,
this
like,
movie.
boiling or steaming in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, back
the
back in the '70s when they boiled everything.
mhm.
Mm.
So, yeah, to give you a lowdown on the film was, a 1975 film. Chantal Akerman, she was 25 at the time she directed this.
That blew my mind whenever I kind of realized that as well. Yeah.
Yes. The film follows Jeanne Dielman, a widowed mother
Mhm.
who's going about her daily life in Brussels. It features 3 days of her life, set over 3.5 hours. So there's the and essentially a lot of the time we're watching her daily routine. And day 1 or day 1.5, I would say, is very much about her routine, and then after that it's how her routine kind of gets displaced and things start going wrong a little bit, and then until we build up until the final day where it kind of, I mean, it makes it sound more exciting than it is to say it like it all kind of blows up on itself, but like the very end, it does kind of blow up on itself. Um, I don't think there's any reason to be coy in this. I think we kind of just got to speak about, as we have for the whole series, kind of going to speak about the film as a whole.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say for anybody who doesn't want spoilers, before you go away, this film might not be for everybody. It is a quintessential piece of what is considered slow cinema, and it's all about taking your time and feeling the time as well. So
If you get your phone out once in this movie, I don't think the movie will work for you.
there is an element of that, yeah. Yeah, I think if you are a casual cinema goer, this might not be for you. And then this is making me sound pretentious, but I am just trying to. I don't want this film to get any hate from people because it's not a piece of entertainment. It is almost a piece of observation, I would say.
Yeah. I ch
Um,
I almost challenge the general, like, I challenge somebody who maybe feels that they are a casual filmmaker to see this though, because there's no wasted time in this movie, and I do
mm,
think the first hour, you might just be thinking that you're just watching a woman live her life, and that's the whole project, but it is an endlessly rewarding film the more the
mhm,
time goes, and that I think anybody watching it intently will realize that they are being rewarded,
yeah,
for the experience as it goes along, yeah.
yeah. That being said, I don't think I would ever force anybody to watch this. I feel like this has to be something you decide to put on, right?
Oh, 100%. You need to
Yeah.
give yeah, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're feeling it, you're feeling like something interesting, and feeling like you're seeing an element of cinema that kind of makes you think about film in a different way,
Yeah.
chuck it on, and I hope you have a good time with it or a good experience with it. Not sure it's a good time. Yeah, I for one was completely fascinated by this film. I yeah, I was kind of blown away. G What about your initial thoughts, Chris? And then kind of like tell me what was the setup going into this film?
What was the setup?
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned my TV on and I put the movie on. No, um, I've been an asshole. I don't know. Um, I think we have an idea that there's people that kind of. I think we all had a little bit of a joke about it too. That's like this film was on the list 10 years ago, back in 2012. I think it was somewhere in the mid 30s it ranked,
It
and
was
then
in the
suddenly,
30s. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then it jumped all the way to number 1, and, from the outset, and you read the synopsis, which is very, very vague. I'll read it out now. It's, a lonely widowed housewife does her daily chores, takes care of her apartment, where she lives with her teenage son, and turns the occasional trick to meet ends meet, but something happens that upends her life. So it sounds like that the movie is going to be a test, like a test of patience, where you're watching
Mm,
somebody, you know, almost like a Tate Modern exhibit, where you're just going to watch
mm.
somebody, perform their daily chores in a very intent way.
It's
Um,
it's on the verge of that, I would say.
it is on the verge of that, but it's
Mhm.
never did I feel like I was. This walks a very thin line, this film, Alex, where, it resembles nothing else to me, um, but it feels like a play. It feels like a little dollhouse where the
Mm.
camera is just in these little windows. These spaces are so small, where it's kitchen, this everything. The economy of this movie is very fascinating to me. Um, when we see Jeanne Dielman the first time, when she's navigating through her apartment, every time she leaves a room, she turns the light off. And it's never spoken about, but that this is, this is a woman that looks after her pennies, or he hasn't got the affluent wealth that maybe she did years ago, and is very much in a space in her life where she is trying to control. This movie's about control, um, of what she can.
Yes.
And it's a sad movie.
Yeah.
I'm
And she
gonna put it, yeah.
No, no, you go, you go.
No, I'm just gonna say this movie's really sad, and I think it might resonate with a lot of people who maybe feel that they didn't really get the agency or deserve credit in life that maybe they got, or for people who give a lot in life but don't receive a lot back in return.
100%.
Um, I've really yearned for this woman this entire journey, and although the actress who plays Jean Dielman, Delphine Seyrig, um, she is so clever for 1975 because you think of performances now. Anybody who was tackling this role, I feel, would lose the subtlety of the character, and she's navigating it. I feel like I'm just watching a real person live her day, because she doesn't really emote a lot. It's all like in her eyes, micro expressions, and sometimes you're trying to actually think if this woman is emotional at all. But then
Mm.
she does things happen to her, or she reacts in ways that are very human and very, very subtle, that you're like, wow, like, this woman is deeply sad, but she's not going to let anybody in her life know about it. And it's just all these thoughts and ideas are coming to you when she's just peeling potatoes, or when she's setting the dinner table, or she has these sexual encounters with men who
Yeah, she's basically like a part-time sex worker, isn't she?
but it's never talked about, but it's implied that she keeps this a secret from her son
Yeah.
Sylvain.
When you said teenage son earlier, I was surprised. He looks like he's in his 30s.
If you didn't read the plot of this movie before you watched the movie, you would think that it might potentially be her husband coming home at the start
I
of this
thought I to
movie.
be honest, like, even though I did a bit of research going in, for some reason I glossed over the fact that there would be somebody else
Yeah.
in this life of hers. So when he came in, I was like, husband or child? And then like the way she was kind of acting around him, I thought, oh, definitely child.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'm gonna say I had the exact same experience. I did not read the synopsis, so I turned the movie on, and
mm,
I actually think it's a really good way to experience the film. Do you not think so?
okay.
Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
you're so off kilter because her son comes home. They have barely any interaction in this film at all, especially in
Mm,
this opening sequence. There's a ritualistic behavior and pattern to her and her son's relationship. So she's a widow, and it's I think it's 6 years that her husband and Sylvain's family father has passed away for. And is
mm.
that right?
Are you sure? Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know at all because I don't remember what the length was. But the film led me to believe it might have been longer because he kept asking questions about his dad in a way that made me think like he didn't know him that well.
Hmm. I think
But then
well,
I
they were
guess,
very deeply personal questions that, we're
yeah,
talking like Sylvain was 10 or 9
sexual
when this happened.
questions.
But yeah, which was really fascinating and odd that they
Yes.
have little to no interaction. She cooks him dinner, she puts the soup on, free course dinner, and the only thing that she ritualistically, we believe, tells him every dinner time is to stop reading while he eats. and
Yeah.
um and then they she puts on the radio after dinner for like
She
5
then
minutes.
knits him a sweater. Like this is the thing that especially in that first day, and like this is a theme of the whole film. But she is always of service to the men, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's yeah, like the time she gets for herself is minuscule. Like in that moment where she puts on the radio, you think, "Oh, this is a moment for her, for herself." But no, even then she's still knitting her son a jumper.
That's a
It's
great
not until
observation. Yeah.
like 2 minutes she goes to bed and she gets to comb her hair. And that is literally it.
There's another thing she has this sort of, again, this movie, I'm gonna keep using the word ritual because that's what the movie is full of, and she has a sort of daily routine where she does leave the apartment and she rewards herself with a cup of coffee where she goes to her
Mm,
local cafe and it's the same server. She likes to sit in the same table and chair, and, one day she goes there and a different woman is sitting on her usual table and chair, and, and it's so funny because this woman has such a thin framework, such a thin structure to her day that she holds on to that gives her
mhm,
her reason for kind of pushing on or gives her stability. And it
yeah,
just shows that just even one little tip of the scale, um, it completely blows down this house of cards. But but it's so subtle. It's not like one thing happens and we're getting like some sort of 2025 A24 movie where she starts going around and like shooting the place up or whatever like that. This feels very human. It's so wildly beautifully observed. Like you said, Chantal Ackerman, 25 years old. This doesn't feel like the
yes.
observation of a 25-year-old.
No, and I almost, I almost wonder if this film comes from a place of, like, fear as well, of kind of like this could be my life. We are in the 70s, 1975, and I imagine this is probably a lot of observations from her own life, potentially from her own mother, where the stereotypical role of a housewife at that time would be to just be of service, to either the men or her family, to cook, to clean, to shop, uh, always of service to everybody else who comes and goes out of the kind of like the home environment. Um, yeah, it's a very kind of mature film looking at that. And I know Chantal Ackerman has kind of fought this idea that she doesn't like to be referred to as a female filmmaker. She doesn't like to be referred to as a feminist filmmaker.
Yeah, yeah.
And she fights the idea that this is a feminist film. And obviously, me, white male, who am I to say? But like, it does, I think, especially in that first 40 minutes, it feels like it has a lot to say about how the male characters in this kind of society are oblivious to the efforts of the women in their life, especially the son. Um, and there is a great moment, and this kind of made me realize that, like my own kind of feelings and thoughts about the film. are 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 almost flawed in a way. There's a scenario, I think it's at the end of the first night, where the son is musing about different, things, and how women might have to sleep with ugly men, and all this kind of stuff. It's very odd, very kind of personal question that he always seems to ask something like this just before he goes to bed. Um,
Yeah.
but he says, "Oh, if I was a woman, I'd only sleep with a man that I love." And she goes, "Well,
You're
you're
not
not a woman,
you're not a
so
woman.
you
Yeah.
wouldn't know." And I thought in that moment, I was like, my whole analysis of this film is gonna be completely different to, a woman, I guess, at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
It's
because we don't have um, we can recognize things, but we're not impacted by the everyday societal kind of misogyny that happens around us.
yeah.
Uh,
It's also
so
her in that moment confessing to her son in
yeah.
in a way what she can she, what she has to go through whenever he's not around, in a way that's not telling him, isn't it? It's sort of that it's such a painful yearning to connect with her child, and yeah, like,
I wonder if it's a film that she made for women, and I know, again, all right, so maybe not consciously a film made for women, but subconsciously a film made for women to feel like I have been seen in, this artwork that tends to ignore this
yeah,
side of things. But then also I think there is an element of, it is a film for men to kind of look at this scenario, and if we feel a certain way about this, you know, maybe we can look into our own lives and see how we might also be putting the same kind of societal pressures on the women in our lives. Thankfully, I think, and maybe our partners would attest differently, but I think we're modern men, Chris. I think we're modern men. I think we're okay ish,
yes,
probably, right? We
try
pro-
we tried to be,
yeah, we probably fall into some trappings. We're not perfect, but I think we try our best to be modern men in this society.
yeah, no, 100%. But you can definitely, this movie as well. I feel has a lot of post Second World War trauma built into it as well.
Yep.
It's certainly mentioned on the fly, but not really delved into in deep. But we're in the 70s here, and like the tactility, I feel like even the way Jean even dresses herself
Mhm.
it feels like we're still in the wartime a little bit. It feels like we've stopped in time for 20, 30 years,
Mhm.
and we're still, women are still of that mindset where, our men fought a brave war and we are in service to them to kind of, dote on them and mother them, and it definitely is a trapping, and I feel like a lot of people, I can see why she was afraid to be labeled as a feminist filmmaker and for this to be feminist, because
Mm.
you try to be a woman, um, you're 25 years old and releasing a film like this in 1975, and, the male response to this, and I feel like a lot of men, I think even 2025 will hate to see themselves reflected in a movie like this,
Mm.
and there's no way it's not finger wagging in any sort of way. It's just kind of
No, no.
it's just the reality of it, and it's
Yes.
still a lot of women's reality, and, and yeah, sure. I mean, I have fell into moments of complacency, especially with my own mother, because that's how, whenever I was a teenager growing up, um, and Northern Irish culture as well, it's sort of just like, mom, like, you kind of emulate your father's behavior, and it's not until or your grandfather's behavior and that sort of lineage, and then when you sort of become an adult, you kind of, all right, this is, of course, we are equals and we need our share. Yeah, I'm the same as you, Alex. Whatever, if I'm home, I'll cook dinner. If Lauren's home, she'll cook dinner, and that's just how it's done.
Mm.
We look out for each other. But I think, in certainly 1975, I think this is a really great lesson, and you know, for a lot of men out there.
Mm. I think as well, to move away slightly from it just being a film about female oppression, I think Chantal Akerman is also trying to say something about time
Yeah.
and the feeling of time. Like, I think this film wants you to be bored.
Oh,
I think especially in day 2, I would say day 1 I loved, day 2 I was starting to struggle. That's where I started to waver a little bit. But it wants you to feel the length of those days and the monotony and the routine. Um, because there are, I don't know if you get this, Chris, or maybe this is just me, but there are like weeks that feel different time wise to other weeks. And it depends if you're just going through the motions or not. But some weeks feel slow and some weeks feel fast.
Sure.
And I always find it weird that a week at work, and maybe this is a luxury, a week at work sometimes feels quite fast.
Yeah.
But a week on holiday when you're relaxing and not doing anything, like, that feels nice. It's
Yeah.
a slow week sometimes, depending on what you're doing. Like, our week in Greece felt
I
like
I always
like
find
an
if I'm
age.
oh,
It was
yeah.
great.
Well, I find if I'm enjoying something that goes fast, if I'm not
Mm,
enjoying something that goes slow. So,
yeah. Which is
um
weird how that, yeah, maybe that, yeah, but I think, yeah, there's
because you're
something to do
conscious of
there with
time,
time.
you're looking at the
Yeah.
clock, you're waiting for the next milestone to hit, the next bit of dopamine in your life to kinda come in
Mm.
and rescue from the monotony of the moment that you're in right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but you're right, I think day 1 was fascinating for me because I'm working out the film, I'm working out the relationship, I'm not sure what's going on with the whole relationship with the son, the visitor coming in at the start of the day. How's this day going to end? And then day 2, I'm like, okay, I'm going to witness the same thing. And it's the moments whenever she finishes a task, she's done everything she needs to do, and she just has to wait till she has to wait for her son to come on his way home. So she starts dinner, and she's sitting in
Mm,
the kitchen with her hands clasped. That there's nothing. There's silence. There's nothing. There's nothing
mm.
going on in this poor woman's life in this moment, and
Yeah.
it's so deeply upsetting. It really, really is because
Yeah, I don't know if I always found it upsetting, 'cause
I found as the movie went on, I understood her more and
I found it more upsetting, I think, when the routine got, um,
upended.
uh, appended,
Yeah.
and then she started to kind of unravel a little bit.
Mm. I
So I
do.
found that more upsetting. I think she was complacent in a way. I don't think I'm not sure if she was unhappy. I think she was complacent.
It's interesting. There's those silent moments. I felt as the film went on were getting a little bit painful, and I also kind of started thinking about the son. That even although their relationship isn't seemingly that strong, he's 2 or 3 years away from leaving home altogether, right?
Mm,
He's 2 or 3 years to leaving, and I don't think from the sign of their relationship, I don't think he's gonna be in contact much. I don't think he's gonna
mm.
be visiting unless he has to, you know?
That's
Very
yeah.
similar to like how they get letters from their Canadian relatives, and
Mm.
they're stalling on sending back a reply because they're not that connected, or they don't really want. I don't know. We don't know why. There's
Well, I think as well, like, I found the letter sequence really interesting, because it's her sister, right? Or is it her cousin?
um it might be her sister actually. You
Might
you
be her
might have me
sister.
right. Yeah, yeah,
But, like, the whole letter is about, like, how she needs to find another man, and she'll be happy again. Like, her husband's been dead for, like, I think you're right, actually. I think it was 6 years. Now that I'm remembering that scene, I think she does say, "Think so and so has been dead for 6 years. You need to find somebody else. You'll be happy when you have a man." Blah blah blah. And I think it's interesting because in that scene, I was thinking she is already of service to the men, mainly her child, but then to the men who are paying her for sex as
yeah.
well. She doesn't need another man in this situation. Like, it's not going to help.
No,
I don't know if I'm not saying it would hurt, but it also wouldn't help, right? It's not going to add any joy to her life.
no. I
And her main upendingness of her routine is, and I don't know if you got this on day 2 or not. It wasn't until I was listening to, so I did a bit of research afterwards and
Sure.
listened to some podcasts, but, like, the main reason she's a bit disheveled on day 2 is because with the man that she's with, she experiences her first orgasm.
Um, did we explicitly? I forget. Did we
We
explicitly see
don't
that?
see
It's
it.
yeah.
We don't see
Okay.
it, but she comes out of the room disheveled and, flustered. And yeah, the idea is apparently that is her first orgasm, which is why on day 3, when we are more explicitly in the bedroom with her, she is trying to almost like stop that from happening.
It's like
'Cause
it's as if she's having a sort of. moment of existential realization that there's a whole other life that she sort of missed, that of a sort
Potentially.
of joy, and maybe that her it reevaluates the relationship that she feels that she had with her with her deceased husband, perhaps, you know.
Perhaps. And then obviously on day 3, I think she orgasms with the final guy,
I,
and
I
that is
that's where I
why
read
she
that.
then stabs him in the neck.
That the well, okay, okay, and we subtly got there, Alex. We subtly, yeah, yeah. I interpreted her as like having an orgasm in that moment, and like even though it was a really weird sequence where his body is just sort of like flopped on top of her, and even
Mm,
afterwards, like she seems in discomfort. It's quite lingering. It's hard to watch. It's just like,
mm,
what am I seeing here? But I think I'm with your interpretation of it there, right?
yeah,
And yeah, and it solidifies the theory that other people, and Chantal seems to say when she spoke about her film, is his the realization from the day before. It's solidified it, and
mm,
it's unraveled her even more. But oh man, this is a fascinating film, and I think we're talking about 3 hours of mostly chores and routine, but
mhm.
you get so your mind goes in so many different directions. You really feel like you have an insight into somebody's life.
I was gonna say, did you have, like, a preconceived idea of, you're gonna be watching chores for the next 3 hours? Because I was quite surprised in day 1.
Hmm.
I was like, "This has got story.
I
This has
wasn't
got intrigue."
surprised.
But, like, I was expecting it to be more, like you said, like, some kinda Tate Modern art film, and
Hmm.
I was surprised by how accessible particularly that first day was, and how much I was like, "Oh, its message is not subtle here," especially if you're reading it purely as "This woman is in service of men and she's had enough." That first day is hitting you over the head with the fact that she is in service of men, and the men in her life do not understand how much they are using her, essentially.
It's hitting you over the head without having to do anything.
Yeah.
This camera could have been in any number of households in this time period and achieved a very similar result. I will say though, the ending is obviously the most subversive moment of the film that I was
Mm,
not expecting whatsoever. I like,
mm,
completely at odds with not it's not at odds with the film in general as a piece. It just shocked me. I just didn't think we
yeah,
were ever going to get there. And it had an effect, I will say.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just surprised in a way that this film felt to me,
Mm.
and maybe, like, less so as it goes on, but especially in that first hour, I was thinking, "Oh, yeah, give me 2 more hours of this. This is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could watch this all day."
Oh,
Day
man.
2, then, I was a little bit like, "Okay, I can see where people are saying this is slow and it is a chore, but it is also meant to be a chore."
How would you feel watching this and, like, a screening of this in a cinema?
I don't know. I was thinking this. I like the idea of being in a dark room, of being with other people. Or do I like the idea of being with other people? I'm not sure. This thing, hands up, I paused this about halfway through to make a coffee.
Okay.
I couldn't and go to the loo. I couldn't do that in the cinema,
Yeah.
obviously.
I
Um,
did the same. I made the coffee halfway through, yeah.
yeah, yeah. After the film, I started actually peeling potatoes. So,
Were you, like, started
yeah, I
violently.
was thinking existentially about that,
I
preparing
was sort
dinner
of
for
like
the next day.
I was enjoying how like this doesn't feel like an actor who rehearsed her scenes to do these chores. Like I feel like this person, I feel like Jean Dielman like lives in her. I feel like she actually lives here. That she knows where everything is.
Yeah.
That like
I do I do have some I have some, like, trivia about all that. So let me get onto that in a
I
minute,
thought
but
you were gonna say
let's
you had some complaints about her performance. I was like,
No,
okay,
no,
let's
not
hear it.
at all. I No, not at all. There's some really interesting behind the scenes stuff there. I don't know if you know anything about their relationship and how that came to be, but we can get onto that in a minute if you like.
I know Delphine was used in subsequent other Ackerman films in the future. Yeah.
Mm.
But no,
Let's
please.
get back to that in a minute. Let's get back to that
Yeah.
in a minute. Let's go back to the cinema. I liked how this played in my house. I I would be intrigued seeing it in the cinema, and I definitely would be intrigued to see it again. I think I'd have to wait a little while.
I'd
I don't
say
think I could I don't think I could rewatch it next week.
I'd say it would
Um,
distress a lot of people watching this at home because they'd be watching this woman and feeling awful for her and going, "Shit, my house is a state. I need to do something about my house."
well, this is the
Yeah,
thing. I had M's family coming over the next day. I'd promised them a roast, so I finished this film
and you
and
were
got on
like,
with chores
"Yeah."
and made dinner for and, like, prepped dinner for the next day. Woke up, did more chores, prepped so I was having,
But
like I was like,
there's a
"Am
difference.
I
There's
am I the
there's
housewife?"
there's a difference between you and Jeanne Dielman. You have expressed freedom in your own home in the year of 2025 where you can
Well, I
put
did
on
sit
your
down and watch a film for 3 hours.
e you have the freedom to do that, but even when you're doing monotony, even, like, we live in a day and age where we can access
Mm,
joy within our monotony, so we can have the TV on, you can put on your PlayStation, you can put on Spotify, bop it out
mhm,
to some tunes, have a wine like you're having right now, and no one's gonna police you for it.
yeah.
Um, uh,
And I was listening to podcasts about Jeanne Dielman
yeah.
whilst doing all these things 'cause
Yeah.
I was completely fascinated with the film, it really stuck with me for the rest of the day. Do you so cinema question, let's turn it back on yourself, Chris. Are you wanting to see this in the cinema?
Yeah, I would love to see this in a cinema as well.
Do you think it would play as well?
I think it would play better.
You
Yeah,
think it would play better?
I just the intimacy, and I think if you went to see this in a room of like-minded people where you could hear a penny drop, I think it would be disgustingly intimate of an experience.
Yeah.
It would be uncomfortable, I would say.
I think I would feel uncomfortable. I think your experience with this film is potentially a very personal one, right?
Yeah, and I think everybody will experience this differently because of the lineage of their own family, of how their own families may operate, um, of the lineage of the women in their family. Maybe some people watching this are in a similar situation. I think it's
Mm,
you know, I think it's a warning for anybody going to watch this. Like, I feel like you need to be in a good sort of headspace. I do. I don't think it's not a happy movie, but it's not overtly sad. It's just if it rings a bell and it rings true to you, it could really hit a nerve. I think is what I'm trying to say. I think it's similar with her other film, News from Home. I think if anybody's kind of going through a similar, she makes movies about by families and the women in our lives, and it does seem that that movie was about her mother too. So
yeah.
you know, and her mother survived Auschwitz, um, and her mother's both of her parents died in Auschwitz, so she survived in Auschwitz for a couple of years actually. So and then we're coming out of the war, and there's a lot of trauma built in there, and there's a lot of that fabric built into Chantal's films so far that I've seen. She's just a fascinating filmmaker and such an empathetic eye. I feel like she has an observation that's so different to any other filmmaker I've seen, and I can feel her behind the camera. Do you not feel that a little
Mm,
bit? Where you can just kind of see her leaning forward and kind of really intently watching the scene as if we're watching it too. I feel her presence as an observer in this movie above all.
100%.
It feels documentarian in that way.
So I haven't seen this documentary, but the podcast I was listening to had spoken about this documentary about the behind the scenes of this film, and apparently it's really
Oh
interesting
wow.
because Delphine at the time was like a massive actress in kind of French cinema, um, and she always played like a very upper class lady, a very glamorous lady. So casting her is against type, and also Ackerman is this new upcoming, um, you know, fresh ideas director, and then you have this very kind of traditional film slash theater actress. And there's tension on set apparently, and it's really fascinating to watch. And in the way that they are both pros at what they do, where Delphine really wants to understand more about where Jean Dielman is in this in the film, like why is she doing this, why is she doing that,
Mhm.
and Ackerman is answering saying like there's nothing. She isn't thinking anything. She's just doing. And they clash a lot on this and on how to do these things. And
Yeah.
apparently Delphine even had to like learn how to make a cup of coffee and stuff like that. She just doesn't. didn't do those things. She said she
Incredible.
actively fought against this lifestyle. Like, she never cooked or anything like that. So, like, that was a learning curve for her for this film. The story goes is that they met at a film festival where one of Ackerman's films was screening in an earlier slot, and one of Delphine's films was screening in a late slot, and she had called Ackerman up and said, "Hey, can we swap times, for our films?" And Ackerman said, "Yes, as long as you come to my film." And that's how they
Wow.
came into each other's lives, and then she sent her the script. Unconfirmed apparently, but apparently that is the story.
It's
Um,
fascinating to think of that tension on set, and like you said, an actress who had way more experience in the traditional form of acting and the more overt nature and theatricality behind that, because there's
mhm.
none of that in the film. Um, it seems like Ackerman won the war on that front.
Well, yeah, but apparently even the way that she's asking her questions is really fascinating, like, she knows how to get an answer out of Ackerman, but in,
Mm.
like, a really long-winded way. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't speak because I haven't seen the documentary. I've just heard people talking about it. I think it's called, like, Auteur de Ackerman or something like that.
Histoire du
Um,
cinéma.
yeah, let me just see what if I can find the actual name of the film. Um,
I'm definitely interested in that, man.
I
Like,
know well, I had the evening and I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of
is
it."
this like
I couldn't I
B-roll
couldn't
from the
get I
film
couldn't
too?
I couldn't get a hold of it anywhere. Apparently, it's on the Criterion Collection copy of it. So I watched it on the BFI player. I was hoping that maybe the BFI might have some of that stuff on there.
Yeah. Is it all talking
Um,
heads or is it B-roll
I
interplaced too?
I think it's B-roll.
Oh, wow, okay.
Um, it might be like Adventures in Perception. No. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, I found the name the other day. Oh, I Don't Belong Anywhere, the cinema of Chantal Ackman. So I think it's this is a documentary film about Ackerman that's worth watching,
So
but
it's
then I
got
don't know if there's then on the Criterion Collection, if there's behind the scenes footage of them working on this film and how they went about it, because it was, like, partly funded by the Belgian government at the time. Um,
wow, okay, interesting. So this
yeah.
was a retrospective, uh,
It's
when
supposed to be
Chantal passed
fat.
away. Okay.
It sounds really interesting, like, people discussing those behind the scenes, because, like, what a fascinating film to get behind. But in short, it feels like Ackerman complete had a complete vision for this film. I did
Mm.
not want to stray away from it like this, and I probably found it difficult articulating what that vision was and how it was meant to be. But I do feel like I can't imagine that this is far away from her original vision, right? I think she made the exact film she wanted to make.
Yeah, it feels so uncompromising. And you're right,
Mm,
she's 25 years old. She has a veteran French
mm,
film actress from the golden age that she's sparring that seems from what you've heard, sparring with on set. And
mm.
winning the artistic battle here and getting a wonderful performance from Delphine, who looks like she has been living this life for the last 20 years.
Well, I don't know if there was a win or lose thing. I think they both won.
Oh yeah, like
I think they were finding
mm,
ways to work out each other and work out each other's vision.
well, yeah, well, okay. So there was a willingness to observe what Ackerman was doing from Delphine's side, is what you're saying. Yeah, there was like,
Yes.
yeah, she just wanted to understand it. I mean, that's incredible. Um,
Yeah. It played at Cannes, to an audience that, a very mixed response. People
of
were
course,
walking out.
of
I
course.
think one famous critic stood up in the middle of the screening and said, like, "This woman is crazy." To which Ackerman then, there and then, fought her on it. Not physically, just verbally.
Verbally,
Uh, yeah, yeah.
wow, what a
But I
fascinating
think she
woman.
ended up, if I remember rightly, I think she ended up giving the film a good review.
Amazing.
I wanted to stand up and be like, "This woman is crazy, but this is great."
In your living room. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, like, it's an incredible film, and, if anybody, like, thinks it's gonna be like, "Oh my goodness, it's gonna be a movie about chores, and I'm gonna have to sit through this. It's gonna be eat my homework sort of
yeah.
experience." It's not. It's really great. It's
No.
really, really great film, and a really if you love movies that are a real intimate peer into somebody's life in a really, like, authentic way, and singular in a way that you don't I don't feel like I've had this particular experience or perspective in film yet. I feel like this
Mm.
is still it stands up as something that is original still to this day.
I think it just shows you that film can be more than entertainment, right? I think this is such a like, you can use film for so much. I was completely blown away by this. And do you know what? My initial reaction to this coming out of it was like, "Oh, I really liked that." I th I think if there were certain elements that were moved around, I think this could have been, this could have popped a little bit better.
Mm.
And 8 hours on from that, I was thinking, "What an idiot for thinking that you could do better than Chantal Akerman here." I was completely like I was thinking about rearranging the film to put the final scene at the start and then go back and do the days, and I was thinking, "Oh, I think there should be more days," but you go faster through the days, and I
Yeah.
think the first 3 days should all be the same routine, and then things start going on, and I was but then, like, after 8 hours of, like, thinking about this film and sleeping on this film, and I was thinking, what an idiot for thinking I could do better.
You're not an
No,
idiot.
this film is
You're not an idiot.
exactly what she this no, but this film is exactly what she wanted it to be. Screw me, a man thinking I could re-edit this film and make it better.
I I
Ridiculous.
I think you don't need to add any more days because by day 1, you already have a great sense that this is day 5,000 and whatever of this routine.
Mm,
You really do. Like, this isn't like
yeah.
a new thing, any of this. It's all super regimented and to the second.
Mm.
And that's all it is. Like the second day, nothing really disastrous happens in the grand scheme of the world, right? Like
She overcooks the
he
potatoes.
overcooks the potatoes. There's one potato left in the bag, and she has to go shopping.
Mhm.
The local bank is not open. It's the woman sitting
Yeah,
in her chair in the cafe, but it's enough, you know.
yeah. And I don't think this was part of the film, but I don't think she breads the schnitzel that well.
You know what the pork. I instantly as soon as she got the pork, I was like, oh, she's making pork schnitzel.
I think it was veal, right? It might
Oh,
have been veal.
was it veal? Oh yes, because she Are we sure? There was a woman. The woman who gives her the baby. She talks about
Mm.
veal, that she bought it because somebody in Q ordered it before her.
Oh, maybe I'm
It
misremembering.
looked like
I
pork to
think
me.
traditional schnitzel is veal, right?
Is it?
I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay. It was pork or veal. Um, it matters not.
No, it does.
Okay,
Everything
it was pink.
matters.
Okay, it was sort of pinky, so that's what made me think pork. But yeah, you're right. I saw her bread that. I was like, like yeah, that's that. Not enough flour on there, and then not enough breadcrumb.
She flours it on the table as well, which I thought was a crazy decision. I always put I have a 3 bowl setup when I do something like that.
And
Flour, egg,
they have to be in
breadcrumb.
chronological order, don't they? Like, and she was kind of like, "I'm doing that in the middle, then I'm going left, and then I'm going right." And I'm like, "Oh, you're kind of like could have, for someone who has their
Yeah.
shit together like you, I thought you would have had a little bit of a better
Yeah.
routine going on
Not
here."
enough breadcrumbs, but maybe that is saying something about the financial situation as well. Like, she's making the most of those breadcrumbs.
What I will say is, bring back wrapping meat in paper. It looks good. I like the look of it.
Well, Chris, maybe this speaks to you not having a good butcher's near you, but a good
Oh,
butcher's will still wrap in paper.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
So I'm just repouring my
I
wine
like
here.
it. I like how 70s kitchen stuff looks.
Yeah.
I like it.
I liked all the food stuff, to be honest with you. I was wondering what she was she steaming the potatoes? I think she was, like, steaming the
Yeah,
potatoes,
because
like,
she had
all
like a
day, right?
colander within the or she had like a
Mhm.
yeah, within the pot, yeah. And they look like good
Yeah.
quality pots. That's like there we're talking about this and now it feels like this is a bit of a bit. It sounds like a bit now, but like this is what the movie invites you to do, and it's everything is thought about, I think, because this kitchen is bare. Like it's tiny, it's bare, there's
Mm,
barely anything in it, but you have this feeling that Jean Dielman has looked after every single item in her house for like the last 20, 30 years, and that they were once of high value. Like the
mm,
pots look good. Like
mm,
she has this ornamental vase in the middle of the dining room. There thing what she has is good and is well maintained and looked after. And economy is so built into this movie. and you get to know this person so intimately, you get to know this apartment so intimately that you just
Mm.
you narrative, put a narrative and you contextualize every object in the house by the end of the movie. It's
Yeah.
um it's great, and I love the movie. And you said it's not classically entertaining, but my favorite movies, Alex, are the films I come away from and I still think about the character. I still kind of think of what the film didn't show us. I'm still wondering about this person's life. I'm certainly wondering where her life is after the end of this movie. Um,
Mm.
but it's like this movie, for a pitch for anybody who, doesn't know what this is, it's kind of like you took Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window and you picked a character that was like in the background and you made a movie about their daily tasks. And
Yeah.
it's kind that's what it is. It's like it's traditionally what is left on the cutting room floor that studios think is not interesting, and you
Mm.
made a movie about it, and it actually, you know what, it's enough, and it's the most interesting thing about this person, and it will tell you the full story about some heist or, some crazy chase around the city or whatever plot you want to throw at it. Um, it's great. It's great. I love this movie. I love this movie. I think we both really like it, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I honestly thought it was fantastic, and I didn't know where I'd fall on it because I didn't love the number two film on this list, Vertigo. Even though, again, not a blind
Two
spot. Yes,
completely different types of
but
films.
just because it's in the top 10 doesn't mean it's gonna be a film that works for me. And I think I think I've gone different ways on some of the slower films on this list. So I was unsure, but I was a fan of News from Home, and I was intrigued by this film. But
You
I don't think I went into it thinking I was gonna love it. But and I think once it finished, I don't know if I loved it. I think once it finished, I was like, I really like this. This was really interesting. And then it wasn't until just like pondering it and thinking about it and just kind of considering what it was doing and listening to other people talking about Ackerman and what she was doing here. I was just like, yeah, this is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece.
yeah.
Would it be my number one? I like probably not for me, but like this is a masterpiece, no doubt.
Yeah. Um, I can only mirror what you're saying. I feel exactly the
Mm,
same way. I think this is a masterpiece. It's not, this isn't me putting my hat on the coat hanger now and saying, right, that's it, I'm done with cinema. There's nothing else to experience. Because that will never happen. But it's great. Don't you love revisiting a film that's now celebrating its 50th anniversary and you're still learning things about cinema, you
Well,
know?
yeah, and prior to the 2022 list coming out, um, I had never heard of this film.
You're in good company,
Yeah,
you know? That's it.
never heard of it. So here we are.
That's why this list is great. And
That's why this is great. Come back in a couple of weeks where we round off this whole series.
yeah,
Don't worry, we are back next week, but we're doing Wicked for Good. But come back in 2 weeks when we round up this whole series,
some would say the Jean
and
Dielman of 2025.
some would say that, and find out if Jean Dielman is going to be making a place in our top tens there.
Looking forward to seeing it. Talking
I'm
about
looking
it,
forward.
actually, even.
I'm looking forward to talking about it with you as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time.
This
It's
is
gonna be a good
definitely going
time.
to be, definitely not going to be an emotional list where we, yeah, it'd be interesting because I feel like anybody who watches all 100 of these films and then gives you a top 10 breakdown of what their favorites are will give you a precise insight into that person and their character, what they lean
Mhm.
into, what they enjoy, what emotionally strikes them. So I'm really looking forward to whatever emotionally strikes you, Alex. So yeah, I can't wait, man.
Definitely, definitely. But before that, join us next week where we're going to be reviewing Wicked for Good. I know we're a week late, but we're trying to find the best time to watch it with a good audience because I think from last year that audiences can go one of two ways with Wicked. Some people are too excited to be there,
I
which is
watched
fair.
that movie two ways, on the big screen and the Snapchat screen in front of me.
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, whilst we figure out the most bizarre way to watch that, whether it be an early morning or a late night on a weekday.
A 2
We
a.m. 4DX screen.
we're gonna figure that out. But just to remind you of when we reviewed Wicked Part One, this is almost a bit of a this is one of our most contentious films. Uh, Kris loves Wicked Part One, and I was not a big fan. And it caused some tension.
It cost us our friendship.
It did, inside and outside of the
We are
podcast.
only here professionally now.
Yeah, we're not friends. We're not friends outside of this, really, are we?
Well, let's see if we're changed for good by next week. Oh ho ho!
Oh ho ho! There you go. So yeah, the battle commences. Is part two gonna win me over, or is part two
Piss me
gonna
off.
piss Kris off?
Oh,
Will
well.
we both do a 180 on the film?
I actually am
Uh,
really looking forward to this talk because I'm always really interested in part twos because they do have that power of either like
mm,
solidifying our our loves or hates about the movie, or
yes.
I actually, and then somebody comes in and goes, I actually like this more than the first one. So yeah,
Yeah,
this is
like as
fascinating.
a full picture, this might now work. But then also there's that element of last time I went in with expectation, and this time I don't.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
interesting.
and we've spoken about my expectation issues before in the past. So,
I have expectation issues with part two as well due to source material, but we'll get into that next week.
and I don't have a clue. I never watched the musical, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. This could all go 180. So yeah, come back next week for that. I think it's going to be a fun talk. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you are even just kind of tickled by the thought of watching Jeanne Dielman, I think you should go out and visit it, but do it on your own time. Yeah, we had a lot of preparation going into this, years of knowing this was happening at some point, so it
Yes.
didn't feel like homework too much.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we underestimate our exposure therapy to other films on this list and outside our own interests as well. So,
Yeah,
yes, if you're an open-minded cinema goer, then and you think this might be for you, well, I don't think you will not be rewarded. You will definitely be rewarded for this.
yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. That has been the episode for this week. And if you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave us a 5-star rating or review. We do really appreciate it. And if you'd like to keep up to date with us, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Film Angle.
We also have a Film Angle playlist. If you want to listen to what we listen to, you can find that in the show notes. Be sure to catch us next week for more cinematic discussions. But for now, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.